this is no longer a hot hatch. Hello and welcome to another episode. This is the AMG Lounge. I'm G, and this right here is the hottest, the most eagerly anticipated, the biggest small car Mercedes AMG currently have on offer. Yep, that's what I said, the biggest small car. But more on that later. The A45 was one of the first cars to feature on this channel. In fact, the A45 was one of the first cars that I ever got to drive. Now, normally where I'd say click here to watch a video, it's so bad I'm not going to. This car is so important to the portfolio at AMG. It was one of the first cars not to feature a 6, 8 or 12 cylinder engine. And that naturally raised a few eyebrows amongst the purists of the AMG clan. And rightly so. It didn't have a V8, it wasn't rear wheel drive, and it only had a 2 litre capacity engine, to which some argued that only fruit juices and cartons of milk should come in. Regardless, it quickly became a shopping centre car park favourite. It brought a younger audience to the brand and helped grow the company to compete against the RS3 and the BMW M2. So let's find out if this is a real AMG. So here we are in gen number 3. The first generation A45 had 360 horsepower, which helped put it firmly on the map. Then along came generation number 2. The power was up to 380 horsepower to keep up with the likes of the RS3. And now here we are with a little S badge next to the 45, representing a not so small 420 brake horsepower. Allow me to put that into context for you. The W204 chassis C63 had more than 3 times the engine capacity. It had twice the number of cylinders, and it only produced 37 horsepower more. 37? That's like half a smart car. Take the BMW M3, the Porsche 911 Carrera. Per cylinder then, this has more power than the Bugatti Chiron. I mean, it's right up there with the big boys, so surely now it's got to be taken seriously. The DNA remains unchanged. 2 litre petrol engine, 4 cylinders strapped to a great big turbocharger, and a smarter 4MATIC system than its predecessor. Basically, not only has it inherited launch control from the earlier models, but now it has drift mode. It's completely new from the ground up. Not only does it not share anything with its predecessor, it doesn't even share anything with the A35. Suspension, different. Gearbox, different. Engine, different. The 4MATIC system, that's the same. It's like, no, different. For the first time as well, it's got a wider track, so it feels more planted, it feels more flat. It's just, well, different. Oh, while I remember, guys, please, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, don't forget to smash the subscribe button. And if you're on Instagram, I will put our link in the description box down below, so hit us up on there as well. This is what I was referring to earlier in the video. Yes, it's a small car physically, but it's massive when you take into consideration what it stands for and its performance. So if you ask me, yes, this is very much a real AMG. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Just completely disregard it because it's only a 2 litre engine or that it's a hatch? That'd be ridiculous. this car completed the Nürburgring in 7 minutes 48.8 seconds. That's faster than the SL65 Black Series. That's quicker than the Mercedes SLR.
How may I help you?
Of course. And it was faster than the E63S. And that came out about 20 minutes ago and it's already beaten its time. It's brutally quick. One of the most surprising things about this car is not its power, not its speed, not its handling. I mean, that stuff is very impressive, don't get me wrong. But the ride, you can't help but ignore it. It's actually really comfortable, really smooth, and it's hard to imagine that this is a proper sports car because it's kind of ironed out the cracks rather quite nicely. I kind of like that because I've been driving around in a GLE, which is like a armchair. This is a proper sports car, and it needs to be too. One of the areas this car's historically got stick for is the price tag. I mean, it's the king of division. I think this car has divided people more than Brexit could ever. Chris Harris wasn't so impressed. Rory Reid loved it. The price tag's always been a factor, and it will continue to be. No doubt it will still divide opinion and continue to be the hatch that everyone loves to hate. It's not cheap, but you got to look at it as value for money. All the luxuries that you would expect or can have in a car at this price point, you can have in one of these. Be it electric seats, the glass panoramic sunroof, driving aids, sound system, different driving modes. Since when do we judge a sports car by its price tag? Let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, the car is very much muted when compared to the first generation A45, but it'd simply be ridiculous to blame Mercedes-Benz. It's the EU regulation and the external influences of the world that have muted this car. The people that like everything green, or called Karen. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm all for saving the planet and making cars more efficient. I used to have an E220 coupe and I got up to 91 miles to the gallon, and I was proper impressed. In fact, if anything, I get a lot of stick from you guys because I talk about MPG when I'm driving around in AMGs, but it's important, I get it. However, noise, well, I was made to believe that noise was one of the main pillars at AMG. The theatre, the drama, the ambience, the excitement that it creates. So then, judge not this car for its price tag. Judge not this car for the lack of noise. Judge not this car for the audacity that it has to take on the big boys. Instead, judge this car for being a proper little sports car and doing a bloody good job at it as well. Maybe it will understeer, or maybe it'll oversteer on a racetrack, which quite frankly, I don't care about. By the way, the noise isn't all gone. It's just like the pops and the crackles and the burbles have disappeared, and there's no crack on the upshifts. But I'm sure there's a lot of companies out there who are willing to tinker with it. So I read in the big AMG book a quote by Christian which said that petrol should run in your blood, the V8 should ring around your ears, and innovation should be in the palm of your hands, or something along those lines. The innovation's there, very much so. The petrol's in my blood, that's for sure. But the V8 sound, it's that soundtrack's kind of missing. It's a bittersweet moment, I think, actually. I think this car is the first in the bloodline to carry the new gene for the AMGs of the future. And if the rumours are believed to be true, the V8's future does look bleak. I guess all that we can hope for is that AMG do have a few tricks up their sleeve, which I'm confident they do. But absolutely take nothing away from its performance. This is no longer a hot hatch. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the hyper hatch era.